Monogram's F250 and F350 pickups are nice kits, but they do have one quite literal weak point, and that's the attachment point of the wheels to the rear axle. Inner wheels glued to a pair of plastic pins molded onto the axle housing. In the course of test fitting numerous times and regular handling, one of the wheels on this in-progress project broke off. Brake lines and parking brake cables that had already been installed, so I wanted to try and do the repair on board without having to remove the axle assembly. First step is drilling out the inner wheel using a 1/16 diameter drill to match the 1/16 diameter brass rod I'll use for a replacement axle. I like using this size because it's readily available, and it's the same size as the classic low-tech wire axle that AMT always uses. There's enough flexibility in the brake line and parking brake cable to allow the inner wheel to be moved off to the side while the axle tube itself is drilled out 1/16. Although only one wheel had broken off at this stage, I decided to take the preventative approach and remove the other wheel, drilled out the same way. Easier to do this repair now than later on when the model is more fully assembled. Axle tube is drilled out, opening up 1/16 diameter all the way across. Now the axle tube is drilled out all the way through using a 5/64 diameter drill. This is one size larger than 1/16 and will make it easier to install the brass rod axle. 1/16 brass rod is slipped through the axle, providing both strength and a solid attachment point for the inner wheel halves. Inner wheels are glued in place, and on this model I made washers from 40 thou styrene sheet, and when these were glued in place, the brass rod was trimmed off flush to complete the installation. I like the added strength of a solid metal axle running all the way through, and in a roundabout way, it's actually more accurate because real drive axles have axle shafts running from the differential out to the wheels on either end. This repair was done on an in-progress model, but on the next Monogram pickup I build, I'll do this right at initial assembly.